Since 1983, FAME has helped business and education work for Maine. Contact the authority, the Finance Authority of Maine. You're watching Mainebiz Sunday, Maine's business news source.
We are back with our panel of tourism industry insiders. Robin Zinchuk, Executive Director of the Bethel Area Chamber of Commerce. Bill Hahn, owner and general manager of the Country Inn in Rockport and Cedar Crest Inn in Camden, and Charlie Colgan, associate director of the Center for Tourism Research and Outreach at the University of Maine. Thank you all for being here again. We want to continue on. Let's talk about marketing now. We talked a little bit about kind of what how last year was, some of the impacts. Let's talk about what really works. I guess I want to find out what you think works in terms of really selling individual regions, your own industry sectors, and then the state in general. How effective do you think the state's marketing campaigns have been so far? I'll start, Bill. You want to jump in?
I don't have a very good feeling for it. I think the current thrust up and down the East Coast and into Canada is the right thing to do. Okay. And I think I kind of felt that back when the dollar and the Canadian dollar did their little swap, that we kind of missed the boat a little bit, wooing those people, because the time was right, gas was cheaper down here, everything was working for us.
Yeah, when it was the other way around, certainly they didn't miss the boat.
No.
I remember seeing all those commercials.
Well, it used to be that I used to have the Canadian discount. I mean, how could you ask a guy for $150 for a room? He was from New Brunswick, right? I mean, in the middle of the summer, it's cost him $200 or $250 or something. It was awful.
Okay. Robin, how about you? I mean, what marketing works at both kind of the macro individual business level and then at the industry-wide level?
Well, I think the state is doing a great job driving traffic to the visitmaine.com website. So there is the portal, and if if you check the state statistics on how many visits are coming to that site, it's remarkable how it's increased, even in 2009 when people weren't buying. And so if you can get people to the Visit Maine site and hook them, they're going to come eventually. We really truly believe that. And that's really what the office's job is. Each of the regions, because we have 8 tourism regions, are responsible for trying to get them into our individual regions.
How are they driving them to that website? Are they using television? Are they using magazine ads? What works?
They're using.
And where are they using these markets to?
They're really it's a big combination of things. Some print, a lot of email blasts. They've collected a tremendous amount of visitor information. People who have inquired, they continue to nurture those email lists. They get people to come back to the website for special promotions and look at events, and it's a TV. In Boston mostly. I think most of the marketing is directed at the Boston metro area and some outside of that.
Charlie, from an economist's point of view, return on investment, are we getting a good return on investment for our marketing dollar for tourism in Maine?
It's a very tough thing to measure because you get hits on websites, you get downloads, and some of my colleagues are very much involved in the measurement of that. I think it's a very tough thing to measure, but I think the strategies, right now we're focused on home market strategies, which is the East Coast and Canada. I think that's right in this situation. I think the one area where everybody would like to put more effort, and we don't because of the shortage of resources, is in focusing on market segmentation. There are actually many different travel markets out there, each of which has a different marketing problem associated with it. And we do a little bit of that, but the resource question means we tend to be pretty generic, which may mean that we're missing some segmentation in the markets that we could get more of if we could put more resources to them.
Okay. I want to switch the topic to taxes, everyone's favorite topic. Last year, tax reform, a so-called tax reform, was passed in the state. In part, that several things happened with that tax reform. It raised the meals and lodging tax to 8.5%. It added 5% sales tax onto at least 100 new items. Increased the tax on short-term auto rentals to 12.5%, and requires a $1 fee per passengers for taxis or limo rides to and from commercial airports. So clearly, part of that impact has to do with the tourism industry to make up for that shifting of the tax burden in the state. What do you think about that? Let me start with our people over here in the business. Bill, has that impacted your business, and can you tell? Are people talking about it?
I certainly can't tell. I can't tell. I think it would impact mostly the more local travel, the interstate Maine traveler, maybe the more rural travelers. I think it impacts the person from New York City or Boston less because they're used to more taxes for all of these things anyway. As I think it was the Brookings Institute said that we were a cheap date, and some of that's true, I think.
When people call for reservation, do they ask what the state tax is?
Almost never.
Okay. Okay. Robin?
You know, in Western Maine, it's a little bit different because we are in direct competition with New Hampshire.
Right.
You know, an increase of 5% on ski tickets is not a good thing.
Yeah.
You
People
know,
really do have choices there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, I think I personally can't support it, and I don't think the businesses in Bethel support it.
What do you think is going to happen with this? What's been how's it going to? Is it really going to impact kind of decisions that tourists make about whether they come here or not?
The evidence from many other states and cities that have raised meals and lodging taxes is that until you get to very high levels, you don't have much of an effect on the travel market. But at the margin, particularly in a weak market in the next couple of years, I don't think it will generate the revenues. But this one is it's a complex, because it was a lot of different interests who are arguing over it, so it's a very complex piece of legislation.
Right. We're going to be wrapping this segment too, but I wanted to add kind of a last question. What's the next big thing in tourism, in the tourism industry? What kind of new things are out there? What are people doing to kind of really move this to the next level and to look for new markets, I guess? So let's start, Robin, how about you? What are you seeing?
Well, you know, I think it's new for us, but it's not new for people in the rest of the world. I think that the move and the emphasis now on packaging for Maine businesses who haven't traditionally been really strong on that is something, it's a necessary move on our part to create those strategic partnerships between businesses, lodging and experience. Ecotourism is another thing that, you know, could really prove to have some great benefits for Maine and Maine's image, especially for inland Maine, but also for coastal Maine. I mean, there's lots of, we've got a fantastic world-class product. It's how we package it and sell it. But the rest of the world is doing it.
Yeah, so it seems like that's really the way. We're not reinventing the Maine. Maine is what it is. It's about how we kind of organize it, package it, and sell it.
Yes.
We're going to wrap it there, but I'm going to ask you to stick around for our afterthought segment. We're going to continue this discussion on the web. Some things I want to talk about are how's the Office of Tourism doing? I want you to give them a grade. How do we get those? How do we move tourists off the coast and inland? Things like that, and to really look at some kind of the investments in economic development. Tourism, and is it really paying off? So stick around. We're going to talk some more about that. You can catch more of this discussion in our exclusive Afterthought segment, seen only on the web. Go to mainebiz.biz and click on the Mainebiz Sunday link. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Mainebiz Sunday is made possible in part by funding provided by the Finance Authority of Maine and the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development.